Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Green, Director of Network Expansion, and thank you so much for your time and your support of our program. We've got big news to announce, so make sure you stay tuned at the end of our exclusive Q&A today. And we have a great show lined up featuring one of my favorite people who happens to oversee our vital network enrichment team, Sandi Magoon, Senior Director of Network Enrichment. Sandi will join me here in just a moment. We'll talk about things like Avoya University and some of the latest updates. And Sandi's been with the company a long time, so we'll talk about the culture of Avoya Travel because I've always felt it's that culture that really makes Avoya Travel stand up and just be so different than anybody else in our industry. Before we say our goodbyes today, we'll also provide the latest on our ongoing military promotion, the Avoya Travel Academy, Avoya resources, social media contacts, and of course, your call to action. You got to get moving. Become part of the #1 host agency in leisure travel and join the Avoya Travel Network. Okay, time for the Q&A portion of our show, and it's a very important topic going right to the heart of what and how makes Avoya Travel just have such a huge impact on our new affiliates. And that's our network enrichment team that oversees Avoya University, as well as amazing ongoing professional development opportunities. Are you ready to find out more? Well, me too. So please help me welcome one of my favorite people, like I said, certainly partially responsible for any success I found when I was an affiliate way back in the day in the Avoya network. Avoya Insider, Sandi Magoon, Senior Director of Network Enrichment. Sandi, so great to have you back for another visit to On Deck with Avoya.
It's great to be here, Chris. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Sandi, partially because I think it says so much about the Avoya culture, like I was making reference to, but I think it just makes for great context for the rest of our interview. But you mind sharing with us how long you've been with Avoya Travel as an employee and just some of the roles that you've held along the way up to the point you are now Senior Director of Network Enrichment?
Sure. So don't laugh, but nobody ever believes me. I've been with the company for 38 years. Yeah, I started fresh out of travel school. I actually went to an actual physical school back in the day, right? And then I worked at one of our storefronts we had at the time. And from there, I transitioned into the accounting side of things and worked there for quite a few years, and then went into education after that, which is where I've been ever since. And I absolutely love it.
So I guess it begs the question as a follow-up, but why? Why would you devote so many years of your career to Avoya Travel? And what do you think the fact that you've been with Avoya for so long, what do you think that says about the culture that surrounds Avoya Travel, not only for those of us that are employees, but those in the Avoya network, because it trickles down there as well?
It sure does. And I obviously I love Avoya, or otherwise I wouldn't have stayed, but I can't say enough. It's an amazing company, and it's a true, I think you'll agree with me, family atmosphere. I've seen,
Absolutely.
yeah, so many changes throughout the years. We've come so far, and it's like I remember how exciting it was back in the day when we got our first fax machine, and it's just like, look at us now. The culture is amazing, and I think part of it too is the shared success model. We talk about that with the network, but I think it's also an internal thing. I mean, I know I enjoy learning and expanding my horizons within the shared success of Avoya.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no doubt about it. And you could probably certainly say this firsthand. I mean, in your 38 years, the company always continues to innovate, right? I mean,
Yes,
always focused on what's going on in the future. I mean, happy to look back and say, hey, wasn't that amazing? But always really pointed towards the future and what comes next.
you're right. Always enhancing and improving.
Yeah, very much so. Um, Sandi, can you give us a current snapshot of network enrichment and how that resource has such a big impact on those in the Avoya network?
Sure. So network enrichment covers a lot of ground, from those who are just learning how to use our operating system to those who have been here for years but need to keep up on the enhancements. Because like we just said, we're constantly improving, and so there's always changes. We provide the support with all of the applications and processes that assist the independent agencies with running their business and help them to leverage the most out of the resources within Agent Power. And there are a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Any new bells and whistles that maybe you can share some details on that have recently enhanced network enrichment or anything that can give us some hints on that are coming down the pipeline? Because again, Avoya innovation always walking hand in hand.
Yeah. So it's been a really exciting year for some new apps. One has been our price tracking feature, and that keeps the network informed on the pricing and the inventory changes for cruise requests, quotes, or bookings. And always enhancements are ongoing to our current processes. Another one was we're assisting the network with accurate reporting. We have a new group auditing feature, which is really helpful. And we've got new pop-up alerts to help advisors on particular suppliers, nuances, like making sure the confirmation number and the details all get put in correctly. We've also recently adapted our connection with Apple Leisure Group and booking engine VAX to import bookings made on that platform into Agent Power, which is super convenient and provides time-saving value for agency owners.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one thing for somebody like an Avoya Travel, some of our competitors, just to go out there and say that they offer a resource, but it's another thing to have the deep level of staffing that Avoya has, so that that resource has great value, right? I mean, all the things that Sandi talks about goes right to the heart of allowing somebody in our network to sell more, make more, be more efficient, and that's why you want a partner like Avoya. Would you agree with that, Sandi?
I completely agree with you. Yes.
Perfect. I would assume, much like the great success story that we always talk about with the Avoya Travel Academy for the last couple of years, that your department also notices that same boost in sales, again, commissions, all the early benchmarks of success. When somebody that's a new affiliate really engages with your team and the various resources available through network enrichment.
Yeah, so we have absolutely seen, more and more and more. As a team, we've developed and we continue to develop and fine tune our series of live classes where team members present processes from the beginning to the end. So from creating the customer profile all the way through quoting and booking. And it's really made an impact on how prepared our newer IAs are as they start to use the system. We've also added our what we're calling drop-in office hours, which are available in a Zoom session. So it's offered multiple times a week, and independent agencies can drop in, ask any questions they want. We'll guide them along the way and just provide assistance to them. So when you total that all up, we've got now live assistance 10 times a week. So as you mentioned, it contributes to the bottom line of the initial success for our newer agencies. And of course, this is all in addition to the recorded and written content we have available 24/7.
Right, at their pace, at their discretion, so that they can learn the way they want. And I think that's one of the things that Avoya Travel has always been great about, is they understand that people learn differently. So there's some that can learn a visual, some people have to hear it, some people have to physically be doing it in order to be able to learn and really incorporate that. And we offer it in every single format in some way or another.
Yeah, you're right. We try to cover all the learning styles.
How many people are on your team at this point, Sandi, if you don't mind me asking?
There's 8 on that team.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I reason I ask is because it's not like, hey, we've got a network enrichment team. Oh, and Sandi's it, right? If you don't get a hold of Sandi, good luck. No, we've got a team with 8 people. I mean, and that's the kind of investment, and that's the ratio differential that separates Avoya Travel from all of our competitors. And again, it's just a point that I really wanted to drive home. We're chatting with Sandi Magoon, Senior Director of Network Enrichment for Avoya Travel. She's our Avoya Insider special guest today for On Deck with Avoya. Sandi, having helped so many people in your career, and you said your love for education, you must have noticed that there's certain kind of traits and personality traits that people bring to the table that help them succeed. Any thoughts on that?
Yes. So, I mean, it goes without saying that travel advisors are most often people oriented, right? With the ability to connect and establish trust and of course sell to their customers. But we do find that those who approach the journey with Avoya successfully are those that are curious to learn more. They're willing to learn and think outside the box. They pay very close attention to detail. They're organized, energized, and probably one of the most important things is they communicate well. Our support and assistance throughout the team, through really all the teams at Avoya, relies on good communication, because if you communicate your questions clearly and how we can help you, we're going to be able to provide better assistance.
Right. Because it's one thing to get a support request that says, I need help. Right.
Exactly.
And then the other one comes in that says, here's the trouble I'm having. And they provide some level of detail, and then you're able to route it to the right person. So think about that too. When you eventually join the Avoya network or whatever network you're in, when you're asking for assistance, whether it's a coworker, a colleague, somebody in your network, give them as much detail as you can. That'll help them unsolve the problem for you a little bit, right, Sandy?
Exactly. And provide screenshots when you can.
Yes, indeed.
That's super helpful too.
What about a little bit of advice that your tenure in travel would allow you to offer that to someone that's just brand new, just in that early research phase, about what it's like to be in the travel industry and what it takes, in your opinion, to run a successful business?
Okay, so I would suggest that they think their business plan through so that they can be prepared to ask the right questions right up front. Because obtaining that information is going to allow someone to be prepared and start growing their business faster. I would also say talk to others who have started a new business and always be learning more about the industry. Don't ignore, for example, the logistical items involved, like you're going to need, for example, a business phone. You're probably going to need a marketing plan and even like a good workspace with all the equipment you need to run your business.
Yeah, that's smart advice right there. What about personal travel, Sandy? I can only imagine some of the great trips that you've had the good fortune to take because of your connection with the Anderson family, Avoya Travel, and just being in the travel industry. Any highlights over the last 38 years that really stand out to you?
Oh, one of my favorites was a crystal. That was many years ago, but I will never forget that. That's one of the best vacations that I ever had. So yeah, it was the Crystal Cruise. We went to New Orleans and sailed down to Florida. It was incredible.
What made that stand out in your mind? Was it the service that they
The
provided?
service, oh my goodness. I felt like a queen and they kept wanting to do everything for me. And I kept going, oh, I can do that to myself. One of the stewards chased my husband down the hall because he was trying to iron his own shirt. And she was like, no, I'll do that for you. So yeah, I mean, it's impeccable.
That's pretty funny. What about like on the near horizon? Anything coming up or anything that you've recently had a chance to be part of?
We just took a little road trip up to Cambria, which was nice, just a little weekend getaway, but we have a big family ski trip planned to Tahoe after the first of the year. So that'll be great. Hopefully we can fit a cruise in there somewhere too.
Yeah. What is it about, even after all this time, that going on vacation just excites you?
Oh, I just getting away from home, just seeing something new, having adventures, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty special stuff. It never seems to get old at all.
True.
Sandy, before we wrap up with our final question, I wanted to give you, of course, just a moment to share any final thoughts you might have on our discussion today that we just haven't covered yet.
Sure. I'd like to share with everyone who's considering the Avoya Travel Network that the network enrichment team, we are eager to meet you and support you in your independent agency as you begin your journey. Our team absolutely loves those moments when all of the information comes together and we understand what it's like to learn something new and so vastly detailed. We want to help you know how to get the most of what Avoya has to offer. And we want to celebrate success with you as well.
It's true. And it reminds me, as you said those words, Sandy, it reminded me of like being back in high school and the math problems that you would get. Because Sandy said something that's important, and it's kind of subtle, but she said, we can't wait to meet you. And partially that means you have to be eagerly moving in their direction in order to meet them as they are eagerly moving in your direction, right? It can't be Sandy's team going the whole way, and we can't run your business for you. We can provide you with a wealth of knowledge. Sandy can provide you with the insight of 38 years of being in the travel industry and how that's trickled down. But you have got to want it. You have got to want to meet them, right? So your train leaves Denver at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and our leaves Southern California at 1:40, and we're going to meet up in Salt Lake City at some point in order to really make this shared success work. And that's one of the points that I think we really want to drive home today. Would you agree with that, Sandy?
Absolutely. Yes. It's all about that shared success, the communication and just working together.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the big final question time, Sandy. A new one for you since your last visit. But again, given your vast experience in leisure travel, what do you think our industry needs to kind of focus on over the next 5 years to remain successful?
So I'll speak to this from kind of my corner of the industry, but I can tell you that it's become increasingly important to ensure customers of the legitimacy of an online business. I mean, look at where we are these days, right? And the security of private information in this virtual environment from suppliers to travel advisors. So I think that's a good thing to look at. Also, we see more people traveling, post-COVID, which is amazing, but it also means more traffic at the popular destinations. So I think it would be great to keep finding new corners of the world to access for travelers that are convenient and affordable. And then also one last thing, when you listen to your clients, I was speaking with a coworker about all of this really. When you listen to your clients and you understand their needs, you're always able to handle the ups and downs that naturally happen in this industry.
Perfect. What a great exclamation point for our conversation today. Sandi Magoon, everyone, Senior Director of Network Enrichment for Avoya Travel. Sandi, thanks again for that great conversation.
Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. So it is time for our big news that we promised. And the big news is that, after the last 3.5 years, that On Deck with Avoya has been putting together weekly updates, about 160 various episodes. We've had a chance to showcase the amazing talent pool that makes up Avoya Travel, my great coworkers. We've showcased our strong vendor relationships by interviewing some of the top executives in our industry. We've done live versions of the show from 3 different countries on board amazing cruise ships like the Celebrity Beyond. We've been at all of the major industry trade shows, and we even managed to win the prestigious Magellan Award back in 2023. But at Avoya Travel, we never rest on our laurels. So that's why we've decided to kind of take the show into what we've used in the cruise industry, into dry dock, to figure out some new bells and whistles to make it even bigger and better. So the program's going on a short hiatus, kind of a summer vacation, but we promise to be back bigger and better than ever. So please stay tuned. Again, and thank you so much for your tremendous support these last 3+ years with On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. Hey, real quick, we want to touch base on our military promotion because we're proud of our military discount that we offer for those that serve and have served and their spouses. $100 off the curriculum at the Avoya Travel Academy, $100 off to affiliate with the Avoya Network. Certainly proud of that. My team can get you qualified and work with you on that. All the information at avoyanetwork.com. Speaking of the Avoya Travel Academy, big things going on there, right? They've got the sale as low as $199 right now. But I always think you got to think like a pro. All the bells and whistles. That's where I would be focusing my attention. But again, various options for you there with the award-winning Avoya Travel Academy. And then once you're in the network, again, you're interacting with Sandi's team and Network Enrichment, and they can help you really start to piece it together so that you can take advantage of that professional freedom. Our agent power system, our turnkey marketing, the agency support, professional development and education, so many various ways to take your business to new heights. So again, avoyanetwork.com is a great place to get all that information. And while you're out and about on all the social media channels, give us a like and a follow and make the bell ring and never miss out on anything at Avoya Travel Network. Again, on TikTok and Pinterest and Facebook. In fact, all of our shows that we've done so far will continue to be archived on YouTube. So if you missed an episode and you just missed the program next Thursday, you can go watch one. There's certainly no downside to that. Or if you just want to reach out and have a conversation about what it's like to be in the travel business, I try to be as accessible as I can. Chris.Green at avoyatravel.com, or pick up the phone and give me a call. Again, reach out, get the process started at avoyanetwork.com. We would love to connect with you, tell you our story, answer your questions, and see if we can't put together that shared success platform that Sandi was talking about. Big thanks again to Sandi Magoon, my coworker with Network Enrichment, for being our guest today. Thanks to Tegan for producing our segment, doing a great job. Thank you again for your continued support. I'm not sure when, but we'll certainly see you soon, my friend.